everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to show you all the books that I read in August, which actually wasn't that many, unfortunately. And I'm also going to share my TBR list for September. Before we get started into all those lists, I do want to remind you guys that I have a Facebook book club and it is really fun. We do a lot of activities. I will have that link down below just in case you want to join. We have activities like buddy reads, we have TBR challenges, we are signing up for book bingo, which starts in October. We're gonna do a Harry Potter readathon next month from October to November. There is so many different activities to do. We read monthly books together, we read series together, and then we all discuss them as a group. So make sure that you check that out down below. Let's go ahead and get into the books that I read for August. I wanted to read 15 and that was way too big of a goal. I thought I was gonna have a lot more time, but I ended up having a lot of things to do before I'm going back to work. I did just start this week, and so I got way less reading done. I did actually get to read 7 books. One of them is just a cookbook slash health book, so this is the 7th one. So technically I read 6 actual books, and I will just go in the order that I read them in. So the first book that I finished was The Good Girl by Mary Kubica, or Kubica, I'm not sure how you say that. This is the first book that I've read by her, and I think it is the first book that she's ever written, and I did it as a buddy read. I did actually really enjoy this book. I gave it 4 stars. I felt like the ending was a little rushed, but the actual story was really good. I'm not going to give a synopsis because I actually talked about this book in my August TBR video, so I will just link that up above and down below so you guys can go check that out if you want to hear about it. I actually really enjoyed that book, and I do plan on reading more by her, especially if she's gotten a little bit better with writing her endings. I really enjoy psychological thrillers, and that story just kind of really made, because it's not based on a true story, but it is based on like characteristics that actual people have from this story. So it was just a crazy thing to think about when you're reading, but I really enjoyed that one. So it was definitely a good read to start the month out. The second book that I read was 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I also gave this 4 stars. And if you don't know about the book, I talked about it in my August TBR video. I did enjoy this book. I just felt that the main character is a little whiny and childish, and so that was the only thing that I really didn't like about that book. Otherwise I could have given it 5 stars. I felt like the book was very easy to read. I just kind of flew through it. It was a very interesting topic. I did actually watch both seasons of the TV show, and I would advise you to only watch the first season because the second season was very crazy. I would not recommend it to anybody under the age of 40. It was not something that I would want to watch again, but I actually did enjoy the book, and the book follows just the first season of the TV show. The third book that I read was TheOne by John Mars, and again I gave this one 4 stars. This was one of the monthly discussions that we had, and it was actually a really good book. I talked about it in my August TBR if you care about the synopsis. It was like a sci-fi thriller type of book, so there was some science fiction in there, not too much. Actually, I think proportioned pretty well. I did really enjoy that, and a lot of people in the book group enjoyed it as well. So if you're kind of like sci-fi, I would definitely recommend that book for you. Then I read The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, and I thought I was gonna really enjoy this book, and I did for the very first half, but I ended up only rating it then 3 stars because the second half, I really struggled to finish that book. I really wanted to DNF it, but I also really wanted to just finish it to get it off my list. I will not be continuing on with that series just because I thought it was about zombies, but it actually turned to be about aliens, which was fine. The very first half of the book was more about survival, but then the second half of the book just kind of turned into I don't know, love story. Nothing was really happening for me, and so I did not really like that book. I felt like the survival kind of just went down out of nowhere, and I really wanted I just really wanted a survival book, you know? Then I read All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. This was not on my list to read this month, but it came into my library. I had been waiting for it on hold, and if you don't know anything about me, Colleen Hoover is my all-time favorite author. Like, I just love her to death. Her books are amazing, and this book, All Your Perfects, 5-star rating. If I could give it more stars than that, I would. I loved this book so incredibly much. Like, I felt like this book was written specifically like for myself, and I didn't even realize that it dealt with infertility. So before you're reading it, if that is like a trigger for you, I'm just cautioning you, like it really spoke to my soul. Like, she did an amazing job with just like the awareness of women that deal with infertility, and just kind of like how other people don't care and they don't know what to say, and they say these things, and it really, you know, it's an amazing story. And if you kind of like even if you like romance just a little bit, I highly advise you to read it, because her books aren't super romance driven. A lot of times, yes, there's romance in it, because guess what? In everyday life, there's usually romance, but I feel like all her stories kind of really drive hard at just real life situations and real life struggles that people go through. So I just love reading her books, because to me, they're very real. Like, her characters really come to life, and I love everything about it. Then I read The Perfect Mother by Amy Molly, I believe, and I gave this one 4 stars. It was a good thriller book. It was about these new mothers, and a baby goes missing, and just trying to like find out where the baby is, and some of the mothers have secrets, so you know, that whole story played out. I thought that the ending wasn't exactly as great as I thought it was gonna be. Kind of like just this character kind of came out of nowhere, and I don't like endings like that. Like, yes, I couldn't guess the ending, but that's because the character was hardly even in the story, and for me that kind of like upset me. So I only gave it 4 stars, but the rest of the book was really good. It kept me reading, and so that's why I didn't give it any lower than that. So I do recommend that, and it's actually one of the reads for the month of September, because in September we are doing a thriller in our book club. So if you're interested in reading thrillers and talking about them, make sure you check out the book club. And then the last book that I read, I actually just finished it yesterday. I just got this. It is Quito Tyrion by Dr. Will Cole. Any of you that follow me because of my keto lifestyle, you will find that this book, I'm actually going to try this out in October. This book is about trying to eat mostly plant-based. He does eat eggs, and he does have bone broth and fish, like seafood. But other than that, everything else is pretty plant-based. And the recipes in here look really good, because half of it is keto information, and then this half is recipes. He also has a 4-week meal plan in the back. And so I just finished reading the first half, because the second half is recipes. I haven't tried any yet, but I finished reading this last night, and I'm actually super excited. My keto motivation group is actually going to be doing this for October. We're going to try and do 30 days of being just a plant-based keto lifestyle, Quito Tyrion, obviously. And so I'm really excited to see how that is. I'm super excited, because going back to work, we've been trying a lot of foods, and we haven't been super healthy, and I just feel kind of run down, especially with the new puppy. I'm getting less sleep, and yeah, I just really need like a reset again. I like doing resets every now and then, so this book is actually pretty amazing, especially if you are a vegetarian or vegan already and you wanted to dabble in keto. This is a great book to start out. Now, I do have 2 reads that I did not finish yet. I'm planning on finishing them just in like a day or 2, and it is Bring Me Back by B.A. Paris and Love and Other Carnivorous Plants by Florence Gonsalves, I guess is how you say it. This one is a buddy read, and I'm about halfway through it, and so I need to catch up some of it tonight. And this is about a girl that is dealing with an eating disorder, and also finding out that she is attracted to other females. And so since I'm only halfway, that's pretty much all I really kind of know about it so far. It is YA, and I'm not exactly sure how much I like it yet, because I am very picky with YA books. I feel like they're whiny, and yeah, things like that. So I'll update you guys at the end of September after I finish reading this, and I'll let you know what I actually thought. And then Bring Me Back, I'm not very far like when I was reading it, but I was listening to the audiobook on my drives to work, so I think I'm about halfway through with this one. B.A. Paris is one of my favorite authors. If you haven't read Behind Closed Doors, that's another one of my all-time favorite books, and this is the third book that she wrote. This one is dealing with a girl that disappears, and I guess she's like kind of reappearing or sending kind of signals that they think that she's reappearing. So so far it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's as good as the other ones because her first book, Behind Closed Doors, like I read so fast. I read it like literally in a couple hours. It was so good. And we're also reading that for my book club this month also, so yeah, if you want to check that out. Now, for the books that I'm going to be reading for this month, I tried to make my pile kind of small, but it's books that I really need to read because I need to send them off to some other people. The first book that I want to read is Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. This one, I do have this physical copy that one of my amazing members in my book club bought for me because she knew that I wanted to read it, but it's also on audio on Scribd, so I might just listen to it on my way to work. But this is like a motivational book. It says stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you were meant to be. So I thought this is just a cute read for September, especially since I'm gonna work out again. I'm just trying to like, you know, get back into the swing of work, and you know, it's always good to just try and be a better person. So I'm hoping that this is good, and I will let you guys know at the end of September. There are two other books that I did not get to read in August. I talked about these on my TBR. The first one is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, and the other one is Ghosted by Rosie Walsh. And these were my two book of the months that I picked back in, I think, June, and I still have not read them. So if you want to hear the synopsis, I actually talked about them in my August TBR, so you can go check that out. But I really need to read these for September because I want to put them in the book voyages in my actual book club, and that way I can send them to others who want to read them. So I really need to get these read because I did just get 2 more books from Book of the Month, and so I should be getting those in a couple days. So I don't want to get too far behind on my Book of the Months, or then my book club, like my book stack just keeps piling up. This is another read that I talked about in my August TBR, and I just did not get to read it, and I need to send it back to the member that sent it to me. So this is again on my list. Like, I feel like September is literally just books that I absolutely have to read because they have to like go back to somewhere, or I need to like, you know, read them so that my pile isn't piling up. So I really tried not to get library books this month, and I tried to really just focus on reading the books that I actually have. Plus I have less time with work, so I didn't want to like give myself a huge goal. So yeah. And this book also a member sent to me. I've been really wanting to read it because I've heard good things. This is Our House by Louise Candlish, I think it says. And this is about a husband, I guess, that cheats on his wife, and they split up, but they have 2 boys, and they kind of, well, the wife wants to make everything like just as easy as possible, so they're taking turns living in the house. And when it comes to her turn, she comes back to the house and finds that all her possessions are gone and new people are moving in, and she doesn't know where her husband and her boys are. So it's going into details of how her husband, she doesn't really know, he's more of a liar, she has to find out what's happening. So this sounds pretty interesting. It sounds like a good thriller, and I definitely need to read it this month, so yeah. And then last but not least, but I'm going to be reading The Sleep Solution by Chris. I can't think of his name right now, but I will pop up the book on the screen. And this book I am reading in my Keto Motivation group. We have a read and discuss, and so this is the pick of the month by our poll. I'm super excited to read it because, like I said, I need to get more sleep. I really need that whole like revival thing, and so we're going to be reading this for the whole entire month, so we'll do it in little sections. But I am super excited. I hope it's a great book. Everybody needs to read a book about sleep. So that is it for the whole entire wrap up for August and my TBR for September. Let me know down in the comments what books that you read in August and which ones you really enjoy, and also which book you're most excited about to read in September, because I might put that on my list to read. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on my next video. Bye guys!